the old-time farmers, like, my dad's generation and everything, they always brought up their kids saying, I don't want you going into farming, because they always thought it was a rough life. But maybe it was a hard life for him, but he was able to send, 3 kids to private school, 3 kids to college. How bad can that be? Of course, when I first started farming, I thought, oh, okay, this is kind of tough. I started fooling around with hydroponics back then, and that's what stimulated my interest at first was, the hydroponics and balancing nutrients in the water. Then we started growing herbs. Somebody asked me to grow herbs, and back then nobody was doing basil or anything like that. So we were growing herbs, and that was working out real well until we got hit by disease. I was wiped out. I mean, I went from, a pretty decent income to nothing. But we did have some of the herbs in the ground. That's when I met Roy. That's when Roy asked me to start growing the greens.
When I came here to open restaurants, I noticed that a lot of these restaurants were providing products from the mainland. And I felt that it was really important for us to get products from our local farmers. So naturally, Dean's farm being about 9 miles away from our restaurant, it made sense for us to really team up with someone that really is caring.
So we sat down and we talked, and Roy said, we'll take herbs from you at the restaurant, and whatever else you want to grow. And he suggested looking into baby greens and things like that, because all of it was being brought in from the mainland at that time. So we started looking at that, and Roy took everything we'd produced at that time. So within a matter of 6 months, I think we went from just doing Roy's to about 15, 16 restaurants. And then within a year we had 40, and within 2 years we were up to about 80. So, it just took off, and so this thing has, hopefully it's worked for Roy's too, but it definitely has worked for us. When I first started in this thing, I met guys like Chuck Furia, who's a master sommelier, he's a wine expert. Chuck one time told me, hey, why don't you come on a wine trip with me, go taste wines. He said, think about it, Dean. Winemakers are farmers, they need to figure out their soils to grow the grapes that they need to grow in that region. So he said, you will learn. For example, a Chardonnay grape that was grown at 3,000 feet elevation, and the same exact cloned grape grown at sea level, the differences were so dramatic in flavor, in texture, and it was probably one of the turning points in my thinking of how to do things. Because we grow in temperatures from 70 to 90 degrees here, and greens generally on the mainland are grown in weather that's 40 degrees to 70 degrees. The flavors that we were able to offer the chefs are very different, stronger, and I think more flavorful in the long run. So we use that as a marketing tool.
Dean was one of these guys, when I met him, that I really felt that he really cared about providing and keeping Hawaii what it is today, and providing the economy with all the products that we want to have in our restaurant is grown or provided by our local economy.
I have a passion for what I do. I mean, I always want to make sure that we're trying to do the best job we can and deliver the best product that we can. What I think kids don't realize are the opportunities in agriculture are so huge right now, because 17% of our food source is grown locally. That leaves a huge segment of opportunity for kids to come into agriculture and become successful and make money. I was in other businesses before, and sometimes businesses would compromise values and things like that. And what I found out is that you don't need to do that. I think one of the biggest things was that I found that you can do business with integrity and being true to yourself and be okay. I'm blessed. I'm generally blessed that I've been able to meet good people. I work with good people, and I have fun.